All right, let's get right into it. We're going to tackle one of the most, well, counterintuitive but absolutely critical laws of power. Think about that for a second. Can your own talent be your biggest weakness? It sounds kind of backward, right? But that's the paradox we're exploring here. How the very skills you're proud of, the ones you think are getting you ahead, could actually be setting you up for a fall. So there you have it. That's Law 1 in a nutshell. You have to remember, the people above you, they're just people. They've got egos, they've got insecurities, and if you make them feel threatened or small, well, that's a mistake you really can't afford to make in this high-stakes game of power.
Okay, so what happens when someone just totally ignores this rule? Let's dive into a story. A real cautionary tale about a man who flew way, way too close to the sun.
Let me introduce you to Beau Brummel. I mean, this guy was a total phenomenon in his day, a real superstar of style in 19th century England. His wit, his fashion sense, it all made him super close with his patron, the Prince of Wales. We're talking about the absolute heart of high society here.
And here's where we see the classic trap. You see, the thing that made him so popular, his famous devastating wit, well, that was also the very thing that would bring him down. It's like a double-edged sword, you know? A powerful tool, but a really, really dangerous one if you're not careful. And then, one day, he just went too far. In this single moment of, just pure arrogance, he forgot the golden rule. He forgot who was the master and who was supposed to be the follower. He took that sharp wit of his and aimed it right at the prince. What a massive mistake.
And the fallout? Whoa. It was swift and it was brutal. The prince just cut him off. Done. The money, the access, the entire lifestyle that he had built, it all vanished in an instant. The door was slammed shut for good.
And what happened in the end? It's actually a really sad story. That one joke, that one moment of outshining his master, literally cost him everything. His money, his fame, even his mind. He died poor, alone, and completely broken. Just a total tragedy.
So Brummel's story is a huge warning sign, right? But it also makes you wonder, okay, how do you do this right? How do you apply this law skillfully? Let's switch gears and look at the path of a true master courtier, someone who knows exactly how to play this game. This really breaks it down nicely. You've got two basic approaches. The fool's way is to challenge the boss, show off how smart you are, and that just makes them insecure. But the smart way, the courtier's way, you praise them. You make them feel superior, and that insecurity, it turns into support. Their power starts working for you, not against you. Here's a great little story that shows this in action. A courtier goes to see the Pope, and the Pope starts reading his own poetry. Now, the courtier could have given his expert opinion, right? But no, he praised every single line. He knew it wasn't about critiquing the poetry, it was about flattering the Pope's ego. Genius, really. But it's not always about just flattery. Here's another tactic, a really creative one. We're going to look at a Renaissance painter, Fra Filippo Lippi, who's in a really, really bad spot.
So Lippi gets captured and sold into slavery. Things are looking pretty grim. But what does he do? He grabs a piece of charcoal and draws an amazing portrait of his owner on a wall. See, he didn't try to prove he was better or anything like that. He turned his talent into a gift for his master. And that gift, that display that brought his owner so much honor, it literally bought his freedom.
Okay, now we're going to flip the script and look at the darkest, most ruthless side of this law. This is when a master uses it in reverse, when they need to save their own skin by making sure someone else takes the fall. So let's go to 2nd century China and meet General Cao Cao. He's in big trouble. He messed up his calculations, and now his army is running out of food. We're talking dangerously low rations. His men are starving, and things are about to get really ugly. You can just imagine it. The soldiers are grumbling, a full-blown mutiny is in the air. This could destroy his entire army, and his reputation as this brilliant, unbeatable general, it's hanging by a thread. He had to do something, and he had to do it fast. So, what does he do? He secretly calls in his chief of supplies, and he basically says, look, I need your help to calm everyone down. I need you to make a sacrifice for the good of the army. And then he drops this absolute bombshell. I want to borrow something from you, your head. I mean, can you believe that? Just chilling, the master demands the ultimate sacrifice from his subordinate, all to cover up his own screw-up. He needed a scapegoat. So the chief was executed. They blamed him for the food shortages. And, just like that, the mutiny was over.
Cao Cao had masterfully redirected all that anger. It wasn't his fault anymore, it was the executed chief's fault. Problem solved.
So, in the end, the general's mistake was completely hidden. His authority was back, stronger than ever. It was a brutal move, for sure, but it was also brutally effective. He made sure no failure could ever outshine his own perfect image.
These stories from history are, wow, they're pretty intense, but they teach some powerful lessons. So the big question for us is, how does this ancient wisdom apply today? You know, in our world of offices, Zoom calls, and career ladders? So let's boil it all down into some practical advice. First, let your bosses take credit for your good ideas. Seriously, you can even subtly suggest your best ideas were theirs to begin with. Don't go around showing off how smart you are. And maybe, just maybe, act a little less smart than your master. It's all about managing how you're perceived. But look, let's be clear. This is not about hiding your talents forever or being a doormat. Not at all. It's about being strategic. It's about control. It's about making sure that when your talents do shine, it's at the right moment and in a way that helps you, instead of making the people above you feel threatened.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. Look around you, at your job, in your friend group, maybe even in your family, and ask yourself, who's the master, and more importantly, how are you going to play the game?